So boys, back with another video. I am recording this for the fourth time, believe it or not. Once my headset wasn't plugged in, once my mic was muted, once my dog came in. I had a lot of things going on tonight, so we're going to get this over quick. I've already read it 4 times, now I'm going to read it a 5th time. So let's get on with it. I usually don't do videos like this because obviously they don't get much views and I don't really like posting stuff that I know that's not going to get views, but at the same time, who knows? Content is content. So, let's get on with it. So it looks like two-step for Unholy DK is getting a slight buff. Not really anything insane, just a 1.5% buff. Not going to do anything. DH, Alderachi, Reaver's Mark now increases damage dealt by its target by 60%, so that's getting a slight buff. Thrill of Flights increased ability by 15%, was 20, so, that's getting a slight nerf. It looks like their two-set is getting increased, so their winning streak's chance increased, or activate increased by 25%. So obviously that's just more RNG, which is good for them. Pharaoh Druid, some fire damage reduced by 40%. That's not going to do much. Lucario's teaching mastery bonus granted for. Okay, again, it's just a Moonkin form. It's not going to do anything for Pharaoh Druids. Devastation Firestorm damage increased by 40%. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, is that their ability where they fly up in the air? Because if it is, it's going to do a lot of damage. They already do a ton of burst damage, so adding that on top of it, on top of their burst, it's going to be very dangerous, like a Frost DK. BM Hunter, two-set was nerfed. It was doing 200% barb shots fired. Now it's doing 100%. Not, it's actually a pretty solid nerf. But then you look at these ones, basically its burst is going to be longer. So instead of having unlimited burst, it's going to be way reduced. Actually, what's not way reduced? It's like zero. Actually, never mind. It's barely going to do anything. I thought I was reading the numbers wrong. All ability and pet damage increased by 10%. So that is tenfold on everything. That's OP. Easily S tier, just like Arcane coming up. Mistweaver, I was really hoping they weren't going to nerf the healing, but I don't know why they nerfed the healing. All healing reduced by 4%. It just doesn't make sense. I can see Mistweavers getting nerfed on their damage, but why are you touching their healing? It just doesn't make sense to me. Liberation of Undermine set bonus insurance healing decreased by 30%, so another decreased healing ability. Discipline. These aren't, these are kind of just not existing. I mean, this is it's just 20% nerf on their like damage. Penance, Smite, Holy Nova, all that good stuff. So it looks like this just, it got a slight nerf. Assassination Rogue, all abilities increased. Damage abilities increased by 4%. That's pretty insane. Again, Assassination was actually really good, but it was like still losing to the meta. Arms Warriors, Fury Warriors. Now it's able to compete. It's easily going to the S tier slot now. Obviously, a 4% buff on everything is a good buff. Secret. I'm hoping they didn't nerf sub. Secret technique damage reduced by 5%. This is why I don't say anything. And I actually didn't. I actually went over this a few times, so trust me. I'm trying to just lie to myself and say that they didn't nerf it. Winning streak max stacks reduced to 8 was 10, so it looks like sub already got a nerf. That's unfortunate. At least it's not insane, I guess. At least their eviscerates might do damage. Elemental Shaman. So they actually got a massive nerf, and it looks like they're getting a buff again. All damage dealt increased by 5%. It looks like they're overall getting buffed. I'm not really going to go through everything here. It looks like their damage bonus of a Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Tempest, and Lava Burst increased to 30% for 8 seconds. Okay, so they did get a buff. So at least might be coming back. Enhancement Shamans. Haven't seen much about these. Flowing Spirits has a 6% chance to have Feral Spirit. That's not going to do it. I mean, that's still a buff, so there's that. Now increase the damage of Clash Lightning by 12% per stack was 15, so that got nerfed a little bit. Damage of Clash Lightning. Now triggers Doom Winds for 3 seconds was 4 seconds. That also got nerfed. I'm not going. Again, these are just 4 sets. Now increase the primary target damage of Clash Lightning by 7. So Enhancement Shamans got a nerf. That is actually surprising. I felt like they weren't even that good. It looks like Demon Warlock, Destro, and Arcane are getting the most insane buffs. Insane. Hand of Gul'dan damage increased by 20%. Liberation, this is their 4 set. Casting Hand of Gul'dan causes your active Deadstalkers to cast Dreadbite at 20% effectiveness was 50, so that did get a nerf. But then they're getting Cloud's Gloom Slash damage increased by 30%. Wild Int damage increased by 30%. So again, massive buffs. Here's Destro. It looks like effectiveness was so it looks like Destro's 2-sec got nerfed. Chaos Blood damage increased by 20%. Summon Infernal damage increased by 35%. Infernal already does disgusting AoE damage. Now it's gonna be like one of their top damages. It's 35% buff is a massive buff. Um, Wither damage increased by 35%. Another like bleed, I'm pretty sure. Wither now deals damage every 3 seconds. It was 2 seconds, so that also got that did get nerfed by a second, but it got a massive buff in damage. Blackened Soul damage increased by 40%. Xilion's Ferocity now increases fire damage by 4%, was 2%. And Xalon's Cruelty now increases shadow damage by 4%, was 2%. Execute damage reduced by 15% for Arms Warrior. It looks like the stamina is obviously getting buffed. Was 5, now 10, was 10, now 15 for, its gladiators or blah blah blah, Frost DK. Death's Cold Embrace PP talent now increases Remorseless Winter's damage by 400%. Okay, so Frost DK had the slight nerf. Pharaoh Nerd. Berserk now increases damage dealt by 5% PvP combat, was 10%, so a 5% nerf. Ferocity by damage reduced by 10% in PvP combat, so again, Pharaoh Nerds did get nerfed. Arcane Mage. Arcane Missiles damage increased by 12% PvP combat. Arcane Barrage damage increased by 12% PvP combat. It looks like their Magi Spark now Echo Spells at 25% effectiveness, was 50%, so that did get a nerf. Yeah, definitely. But it also, you're getting a lot of damage out of it. Fire. Blazing Barriers from Overpowered Barriers now reflect 60% of damage absorbed, was 100%. So somehow, some way, they found a way to nerf Fire Mage more. Don't ask me how. Frostfire. Blazing Barriers from Overpowered. Okay, so it's just the same thing. So it happened for Frost as well. Mistweaver. Jade Empowerment's damage increase reduced to 1250, was 2500. By the way, that was that one ability that was literally 100 0ing people. They were literally hitting like 3 mils. And it looks like Windwalker's one-shot ability also got nerfed. Slicing Wings damage reduced by 20% PvP combat. If you didn't know what that was, it was a massive burst ability. It was one of the only things that were making them insanely OP. They still are going to do a lot of burst damage, but now they're not going to be hitting those, massive, 3 mil plus. Arms Warrior, Mortal Strike damage reduced by 25% PvP combat. Personally, they should have just nerfed Demolish. I feel like everything else was fine. It was their Demolish that was one-shotting people. Demolish final hit decreased by 30% in PvP combat. Execute damage increased by, that's not going to do much for X. They needed to keep the Mortal Strike and the Execute in order to be viable. Now it's just like, yeah, no. They were only doing so well because of Demolish in the first place. Rampage damage reduced by 15% PvP combat. It looks like Fury Warrior is getting a massive nerf. Bladestorm reduced by 50% PvP combat. Protection were actually broken, by the way. All damage reduced by 15%. XQ damage reduced by 20%. So yeah, they were doing a lot of damage for some reason. I actually faced a dozen prot tanks. So don't ask me how that went, but it went okay. But hopefully this is the end of the video, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys want to see more videos on updates, we are going to be doing more Cureless in the future based on what I've said in this video here. So let me know what you guys want to see next, and I'll see you guys in the next video.